It's time now for Empowered Family Talk with Francita Hallrus.
Do you want to empower families and young people in your community? Then take the time to make a tax-deductible contribution to the Coach Tate Fund. The Coach Tate Foundation is dedicated to helping young people and their families in learning and passing on the kinds of life skills that we all need to succeed. All too often, we hear about kids and their families having encountered life's difficulties that could have been easily avoided by knowing better decision-making skills, from anger management to money management to something as simple as learning to manage how we spend our time or how we use our job skills. Make a donation to the Coach Tate Fund. It'll help kids who need help and their families too. Make your contribution to the Coach Tate Fund. Get details at www.coachtatefoundation.com. And oh, by the way, thank you.
May the words of our mouth and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. Good morning. It's family time, and welcome back to Empower Family Talk, right here on Praise 107.9 in the beautiful sunshine state of Jacksonville, Florida. And oh, by the way, happy Independence Day to all of our listeners on this historical holiday weekend established in 1776, Independence Day in the United States of America. In order to fully understand and embrace our independence, we must first understand our dependence. So we take this time today on July 4th, 2020, to celebrate the independence of the citizens of the United States of America, specifically our women business owners in this 21st century, our intellectual property, our supply and demand for the unique goods and services that our citizens bring to trade for profit in the greater marketplace within our society. Now, our U.S. Small Business Administration helps Americans start, build, and grow their businesses. The SBA was created in 1953 as an independent agency of the federal government to aid, counsel, assist, and protect the interests of small business concerns. And I am so delighted to be joined by two members of the Black Women in Construction organization here in Jacksonville, Florida. Mrs. Diane King Flowers. She's a self-employed entrepreneur since 2002. She's a licensed health and life insurance agency for over 20 years. Her company is DEK Construction Company, which is formed as an LLC. And Mrs. Jackie Perry is also an entrepreneur and business consultant, CEO of Data Architect since 2018. She serves as a director on boards for the National Black Women in Construction, the First Coast Business Alliance, and is chairperson for the City of Jacksonville's Public Service Grant Council. Welcome to Empower Family Talk, ladies, and thank you for being here today.
Well, thank you so much for having us. We're excited to be on.
Oh, this is a pleasure, and I know our listeners have their pens and papers out to hear from you guys today. Now, could you share with us, either one, Miss Perry or Miss King Flowers, give us a brief history of the organization for Black Women in Construction, where it is today, and its future outlook. Ladies, please.
Okay. This is Jackie, and I'll go ahead and do that. I'm happy to provide some background. So the National Association of Black Women in Construction was established in 2001 officially, but just to give you a little bit of background, it was founded by a lady by the name of Ann McNeil. We call her the mastermind. She had been in the industry she's now been in the industry for over 40 years. But the idea she often mentioned was inspired by God. So the idea was to bring together black women in particular who were in the construction industry and the related areas in the industry. So it didn't matter if it was professional services, contractors, project control support people. It could be engineers or other craftsmen in the industry. She wanted to bring those groups together and give them a voice, because back then, since we're talking about independence, we certainly had a degree of independence, but the fairness and equity wasn't always there for women. So she created this organization, and actually it's established on 4 pillars, and I'm just going to go through those real quickly so people can further understand the organization. So the first pillar is built on is our black girls. All girls in general, but in particular black girls, many of whom do not see themselves in the construction industry. They don't see people like them modeling what it looks like to be in that industry. So, of course, they go on to other careers. So we focus on black girls. The second pillar that we stand on is black women who are in the public sector. That includes any black woman who's in policy-making positions, procurement-making position, whether it's in our city, county, state, our National Black Caucus, those individuals who control politics and control procurement opportunities. So the third leg, which we stand on, include black women who are part of the private sector. And so that's your corporate women who are in our Fortune 100, Fortune 500 company, anyone who's in the corporate area that controls and impacts procurement for small businesses, and that includes our small business representatives as well. And then we have our last pillar, which we stand on, and that's the rest of us. The rest of us would include our members, our strategic partners, our sponsors, those of us who are in the trade or in the profession or entrepreneur like Diane and myself. So if you take all of that and put them all under one umbrella, that impacts and supports the membership base on which NABWIC stands. And that's our NABWIC organization. We're 12 chapter area strong. We're located in various cities and states across the country.
Well, I think it's fantastic. As an entrepreneur myself, I certainly see the value and have learned the value in being associated with associations with a local presence but a national reach. So thank you so much, Ms. Perry, for sharing that brief history. And Ms. King, could you share with our listeners also a little bit about where NABWIC is today? I understand you guys are planning to have been selected to host the big conference coming up next year, and where you see the future outlook of NABWIC and small business owners in Jacksonville.
Okay, thank you very much for asking the question. Yes, the growth is really phenomenal. I think for such a time as this, people should want a desire to be aligned. Myself personally, got with NABWIC now 3 years ago, with the desire to grow my business. I'm an independent business owner. Since we're celebrating Independence Day, I want to make sure we're recognizing independence. And as a business owner of deconstruction, the opportunity to be strategically aligned. So that's one of the goals with NABWIC, our Northeast chapter. But we're very happy to have a Northeast Florida presence, and to be we're developing strategic partnership, and that we're continuing to grow in this area. NABWIC is continuing to grow here in Florida, like we mentioned, other areas of the country, but that alliance and me being aligned with this alliance of partnership has caused my business to really, really, really grow. When I got serious about my business, I joined NABWIC so that I could continue to develop and grow, and definitely I've been doing that tremendously with these partnerships that I've been aligned with because of my relationship with NABWIC in Northeast Florida.
Well, I'm so excited to have you guys here today. We've had several questions come in from a lot of our small business owners who are aspiring and who are seeking to be inspired in times of COVID where they've had to really sit down and reassess their products and services that they're bringing to the marketplace. Now, Ms. Perry, you mentioned those 4 pillars. One of these questions is directly related to that. When you talk about self-certification, is this question. How do you envision the small business administration and authorities recognizing self-certification as a minority, as a woman-owned business in the 21st century? Ms. Perry.
Yes, I can talk to what they're doing now. In fact, our motto for NABWIC is "We are the voice of Black women in construction." So we seek to be a voice in our communities as it comes to procurement opportunities, because we want those to be available. And one of the ways, as you already mentioned, is that SBA make those available and try to give people a leg up by having them certify in certain areas. And so they get to have a little more emphasis on their business when those contracting officers are looking to place those contracts with a small business. So self-certification, the only certification that's left now for self-certification is the one called Women-Owned Small Business, or WOSB, or one that's called economically EDWOSB, so economically disadvantaged women-owned small business. So right now, women can self-certify for those. However, in fact, this month, as of July 15th, SBA is requiring that women officially certify, so you can no longer self-certify. However, the good news is that SBA is opening up a portal on their site so that you can self-certify or certify at no cost. So it used to be that you could just submit all of your information, all of your documents, and the mere fact that you submitted them, you could just self-certify. Now they're going to be reviewing those documents officially and providing a official certification, and then, of course, they share that information on the various government portals. So that is one change that's coming up, and I know locally our businesses can continue to certify as an MBE and a DBE through the city of Jacksonville, through some of our other agencies like JEA, JTA. So once again, it's just a matter of submitting the application and getting it reviewed and approved. So those certifications are very important. We do encourage our businesses. In fact, one of our goals, as Diane can attest to locally, is that we want to have 100% of our membership or any of our guests associated with us. Our goal is to have 100% of our members certified in some manner that's meaningful for them. And so I guess in terms of the future, certifications are still important. We will still continue to support our women as they go after those certifications. And certainly because, as in the case of the WOSB, where you have to pay now to have those third-party certifications, we're saying we want people to be able to certify in an official way, but it doesn't always have to cost you anything. So once again, SBA is going to be offering that third-party certification, but at no cost to our women-owned businesses.
Well, you know, to that point, Ms. Jackie, is I picked up on your first pillar there, the Black Girls initiatives that you have, and that's so important at the Coach Tate Foundation and our Learn to Earn Academy. Many of our young girls, you know, I'm from the country in North Carolina, we just did business on a handshake back in the day. You know, if you have a supply and I can a demand and I can supply it, we're in business. But today it's different. It's different. And our young girls are sitting around the table, and young boys, but particularly the young girls, and they do hair, they do nails, they do all kinds of crafts that can generate income in the marketplace. What advice would you give to these young black girls, as you say? We've got Hispanic, we've got Asian, we've got all kinds of non-white cultures of entrepreneurs budding for the 21st century. Now, they're not aware of all these certifications we're talking about. So how are you able to bridge that gap and create a pathway forward for our new women business owners coming up?
Well, one of the things we do is we have a vehicle through which we reach out to these young girls, and it's through what we call industry days. So we go into the high school and the colleges, and we introduce girls to those opportunities, as you say, helping them understand that, yes, they don't always have to embark on a career where they're working for someone else, but they can achieve freedom and independence by working their own businesses. And as you said, Francina, whether it's hair salon or some other craft, those are all fine and those are all good. But one of the things we try to encourage girls, again, is to look at the construction industry. So whereas you may be looking to gain financial freedom through, say, working or owning your own hair salon, you can do that. But think about these government contracts that are available through the construction industry, whether it's with engineering or from anywhere to general construction. You have an opportunity, number one, when you're just starting out, and even if you're working and learning the craft, some of these jobs are already, because of Davis-Bacon rates, up to $15, $20 an hour just starting out. And then when you're your own business and you're going after these government opportunities, whether it's on a city, state, or local basis as you're growing, you've got an opportunity to go after billion-dollar contracts. Not just make $1 million, taking 2 and 3 years to, say, if you're fortunate enough to get up to, making $2 and $3 million, but I'm talking $1 billion. So those are the kind of opportunities that we like to introduce our young girls to, and we do that through construction days. Diane and I, along with some of our other members, are always out at the Equestrian Center each year, where we have a booth. We're out there with other vendors. We're introducing high schools, particularly, again, our young girls, to these type of opportunities. We have industry days nationally and locally. So, again, we're going into the high schools and the colleges, hoping to introduce our young girls to opportunities that will put them on a pathway to financial freedom and independence.
And thank you so much, Ms. Parrott, for that answer there. And one of the other questions, construction is certainly historically been a male-dominated field, and there are young women that are aspiring to learn the industry, and in a private setting and a public setting. Can you share real quickly, either you or Ms. Diane Flowers, the difference that our young folks can look at as far as working in the private sector, providing your services and products to a private entity versus a government entity? Is there a stark difference, or is it similar in the requirements?
And Diane, I know I've been talking a lot, so if you
I want you to please go ahead and answer that question, Jackie. Please go ahead. Thank you. That'd be great.
Oh, okay. So is there a difference between young girls when they're working in private industry versus construction? Is that the question?
Yes, with the government. You have different pillars there that you mentioned, the private and you mentioned the government.
Yes. In some ways there is a difference in that, of course, if you're working in the commercial and private sector, both sectors, of course, require that you compete, right, for contracts, and that so you have to market yourself, et cetera. And so in those ways they are similar. The way that I think that they're different is that, again, in corporate America, again, because you're working in the private sector, you may go up against what they call, the glass ceiling, so to speak. You can progress so far in a corporate organization, and then it's like that's it. Either there's just not opportunity for growth anymore, or because of whatever reason, biases, prejudices, etc., people determine that they're going to stop you at a certain level, which is why, again, I do like the government sector in that when you're working in the government sector pretty much as your own, you get to have a little more control. I'm not saying that there isn't some of those same challenges there, but you have a greater degree of control. And one of the things that works in your favor is organizations like the one you mentioned, Francina, and also organizations like NABWIC, because, again, we aspire to be the voice of black women in construction. Where we see that there are roadblocks or challenges, then we can speak to that, particularly on a government level, and that's why politics, one of the things we often say, most people may not understand politics or like politics, but we say if you're not in politics, then you're not in business, because politics influences so much of what happens with us and our small businesses, and even us, of course, we know individually. But on in the small business arena, we get to be that voice for black women and young girls. So if there are opportunities that need to be carved out or things that need to happen, we can certainly make our voices heard, just as it is occurring today in the platform as we know what's happening in our country. So, and this is a great opportunity. You talked about things that are going to be how we're going to be influencing things in the future. We have a great opportunity right now to have our voices heard and to articulate some of the things that are still issues for our young black girls and our women.
Right.
And so here's an opportunity to bring those things to the forefront and work on removing any barriers that exist.
Well, that's so important going forward, and thank you for sharing that. And one last question I want to squeeze in here. We've got to continue this conversation. This is so important to our economic development is the subject today. One of the last questions we had here is, how do we justify the cost of certifications and association memberships in order to compete for contracts? Oftentimes we have spent more money than we actually receive in contracts over a period of a year, and they're trying to justify that on the P&L statement, the profit and loss. Can you share the return on the investment of these services for our entrepreneurs to get started?
Well, once
Go
again,
ahead, Jackie, thank you.
Yeah. So for a lot of our certifications, as I mentioned, those are on the city, state, and government level. I often tell people that there is a cost. There's a cost in terms of sometimes people actually pay a third party to help them with their certification, because with some of them there is a lot. There's a lot of paperwork. Take the 8A certification, for instance. We always have heard feedback how, maybe cumbersome that process is and the amount of paperwork you have to go through. And so people, because they're already busy running a business, will pay a third party to help them achieve those certifications. So whether you're paying on that end or whether you're paying in terms of it costs you time, it takes time to do and to complete your certifications. And but I often encourage people to not necessarily pay dollars and cents for certifications, because you can do them yourself, but it will take your time, and time, of course, is money. So one of the things that I do encourage people to do is look at, yes, the value of that certification. So sometimes you can go after a certification, say, for instance, if you're starting out and maybe the progression may logically be, I just get certified on a local level. But then you may say, well, no, but I want to do federal contracts too, so I want to get certified as an 8A. I've been in business 2.5 years, and I want to get certified as an 8A. Well, if you know that you're not there yet in terms of past performance, or maybe you're not in an arena where that particular government entity overall is going to be purchasing your products and services, maybe that's not your niche or you don't cater to them, then don't do it. I mean, you're
right.
It could be valuable later on, but think about, again, time is money. So
yep.
you may want to defer that and look strategically perhaps at doing that some other time. So I would look closely at where you want to grow, what space you really want to operate in, and what is going to get you the best return, and then go after that. And then although I did say my my opinion is that no one should have to pay anyone to do certifications. But if you get to that point and you have the money, you want to do it, then of course that's at your discretion. But a lot of the agencies and SBA even SCORE, Small Business Development Center, all of those agencies provide free resources that will actually help and support you doing that yourself.
Yes. That's
so
true.
You don't have to do it alone.
Yes, and that's one thing I wanted you. That is such good information there, so that everything doesn't come with a cost. Now, ladies, we're out of time, and I would like to hear from Miss Diane King Flowers on your upcoming conference and how folks can reach out to you to become members of NABWIC right here in Jacksonville, Florida. Miss King Flowers, please.
Thank you very much. Yes, we're very excited that the national chapter of the National Association of Black Women in Construction has selected Jacksonville to host their annual conference. So we're very excited about that. We want you to be a part of that. That's going to be January of 2021. So please reach out to us by number. Personally, I'm the president of our Northeast chapter. The number is 904-307-8202. Again, I'm Diane King Flowers, 904-307-8202. And then at that time, I can let you know that we have weekly meetings, conference calls, and then we have a monthly call that when we have actually guest speakers. So if you'll get connected with us, your business will grow by being strategic yourself and forming relationships with alliances that's going to help you in your business. So we'd love to hear from you, and hopefully we'll do a part two and we can talk a little bit more, but we want you to be a part, the plan to come to our national conference in January. But in the meantime, we need to hear from you prior to that. Thank you.
Well, thank you again, Miss Jackie Perry and Miss Diane King Flowers, representing the National Association of Black Women in Construction right here in Jacksonville, Florida. To all of our listeners, it's family time. It's time to get our business ownership houses in order. We got to be good stewards of what our Heavenly Father has blessed us with. And again, happy Independence Day. Until next week, same time, same station. I am Francina Tate Holris. Your host is right here on Praise 107.9, Jacksonville, Florida.
Empower your family with the dynamic new book by Francina Holris, Our Sixth Sense and Purpose, The Power in Knowing Who You Are. It's the book that gives you insights into life's problems. Francina Holris is an author, motivational speaker, and national broadcaster who believes the answers to your problems lies within the knowledge that was once traditionally passed down by families. But that knowledge has been short-circuited by today's faster pace. The book, Our Sixth Sense and Purpose, The Power in Knowing Who You Are, brings that accumulated wisdom to the problems that all families face. You'll find your copy of Our Sixth Sense and Purpose, The Power in Knowing Who You Are at Amazon and at better bookstores. Empower your life with the dynamic new book, Our Sixth Sense and Purpose, The Power in Knowing Who You Are by Francina Holris.
Thank you for joining Francina Holris on Empowered Family Talk. Tune in next week.